So I get a lot of emails, I get a lot of comments, I do a lot of consultations for brothers that want to move from the US to Africa specifically because I moved to Nigeria. And there's certain things that I noticed. There's certain uh, things that I notice about, especially American men, and I need to address this. My name is Akin. I'm back with you with another video, helping you guys out. A passport bro, a proud passport bro, no matter what definition you want to call it, however you want to define it, I'm here to help you guys. Dating apps, using dating apps in other countries. Now, let me say something about that first. If you are on dating apps in another country, just know you're not getting the most valuable women from that country. Let me repeat this. If you're using dating apps as a primary way of meeting women in other countries, you are not meeting the most valuable women. You are probably gonna meet pros. You're probably gonna meet pay for plays. You're probably gonna meet gringo hunters. Hence what's going on in Medellin, Colombia. When I went to Medellin in 2017, there was really the only Americans that were there, a couple of white guys, mostly Europeans, a little bit. And there's no report. There wasn't a lot of scoping in reports of, people being, DRUGGED'd and all of that, because there weren't a lot of guys going there using Tinder as an in to meet women. Now, I wouldn't say I'm totally against using dating apps when you're going to other countries, but you shouldn't be lazy to where you're using them every single day and their primary way of meeting women. When you're using dating apps, first of all, it's going to be very rare that you're going to find a wife on a dating app in other countries. Very rare, very rare, very, very rare. Well, I wouldn't say very, very rare, but the likelihood is lower than if you're out and about. Now, if you're in a country where they don't speak English, and these are some of the things that you need to do. You need to increase your intelligence by being bilingual, learning the language, at least starting to learn. This is the work you have to put in, fellas. If you want to be a passport bro and you really want to meet and you want to dive deep into the culture and you want to meet real valuable women, maybe in Brazil, you gotta learn Portuguese. In Colombia, you got to learn Spanish, especially if you're out of Medellin or you're out of the most popular area. If you're going to San Andrea or like stuff like areas like that, Cali, Bogota, and you're away from Medellin, you're away from all that tourist areas. You're gonna have to learn Spanish in order to communicate with the most valuable women, because the most valuable women in those cultures are they're not sleeping around. They're not on Tinder. You're going to meet them in your everyday life. You're going to meet them in the market. You're going to meet them in a coffee shop. You're going to meet them on the way to school. You're going to meet them on the way to work. You're going to meet them while you went to fix your teeth. But you have to be able to learn the language, right? This is your problem, guys. You keep texting me saying, oh, you can't find a wife in Nigeria. Yeah, because you're on Tinder. What do you think you're going to find on Tinder? If you're coming to Nigeria and your primary source of meeting women is on Tinder, just know you're gonna meet pros. That's it. You're gonna meet pros. You're not gonna meet a wife on Tinder, not in this country, not in Nigeria, right? And the only thing in Nigeria is you don't have to learn other languages because everybody speaks English. Everyone speaks English or some sort close to English. So all you have to do is just leave the touristy areas, leave the touristy areas in Lagos, probably go to like other states like Ibadan, or like go a little bit north, go a little bit west, go to like the deep cities where the culture is still intact. The culture is intact, but the culture is more intact the smaller cities you go to. And most of these girls are not on social media. How do I know? Because I've interviewed a lot of girls, just not a formal interview, just an informal, like, hey, will you ever be on social media? Will you ever be on dating apps? And they tell me, the real valuable women that I meet, they say, no, I would never, ever go ever sign up and be on a dating app. So the most valuable women are not gonna be on dating apps. And it's gonna be hard for you to meet them because they're not out in the clubs, they're not out partying. So if you guys are looking for wives in these countries, you have to get off dating apps. Now, there's a caveat. Let me break this down a little bit. I'm not saying don't get on dating apps if you want to go to a country or visit a country. Yes, if let's say you're coming to Nigeria, I would say download Bumble instead. And if you can change your location to Nigeria, 3 weeks before you come, 4 weeks before you come, so you can kind of sift kind of some people that you want to meet, right? Use that. But Tinder is a no-no. Everybody knows Tinder is a meat market. So if you judge the women of a country based on you in Columbus, Ohio, and you switch your location to Ethiopia, and they were asking you for money, duh, what do you think is gonna happen? But now in your mind, you're like, oh, I'm not going anymore because these women are just like the women in the US. They're westernized. That's you guys' favorite word. They're westernized. They're westernized. Everybody's westernized to you. If a woman asks you for money, she's westernized. If a woman does this, she's westernized. If a woman does that, she's westernized. You people don't even have people in America. And I grew up in America. I'm from America. I was born there, and I dislike just these words that we use. Oh, they're westernized. Oh, they're this. Oh, they're that. No, they're not. It's woman nature. It's female nature. They practice hypergamy by nature. Of course, they're gonna ask you for money. You on Tinder? What else are you doing there? You're there for meat. They're there for money. Even if they're pros directly or they're pros indirectly. You know, if I were to advise you, if you were coming to Nigeria to look for a wife, right? You're coming to look for a wife. I would tell you, this is my advice. You got your stuff. You got your visa. You got your tickets. You got your everything. Or you're looking to get that. You're coming in a few months. I would say, don't do Tinder at all. Don't even download Tinder at all. I would say do Bumble until you get here. And once you get here, once you meet a couple of girls on there. And when I mean meet, I mean just chat with them, probably chat with them, vet them out, and then move them to WhatsApp, and then, start chatting with, on WhatsApp. That's what I'm saying by meeting, right? And then when you get here, you already know which ones you want to meet. But once you're here, you need to be outside. You need to be outside. You need to be exploring anyway, right? When you're in a new country, what do? You explore. You go to the tourist centers. You're walking down the streets. You're looking for things to do. While you're doing that, you need to keep your eyes open and you need to start approaching. Because another mistake that you guys make is you're so afraid to approach women because you think women are the same way in America as they are outside of America. But it's not true. Once you leave America, you can approach any woman. And if she's married or has a boyfriend, she's gonna politely tell you, "Oh, sorry, I have a boyfriend. Oh, sorry, I have a husband," and you move on to the next, right? So that's the mistake that you guys are making, right? You guys are judging countries that you haven't been by just switching location on Tinder. But what you don't understand, those are the bottom of the barrel women in any country on this planet. You're going to meet the bottom tier women on dating apps. That's just the way it's going to be. I'm not even talking about America. I'm talking about Brazil. I'm talking about Colombia. We see what happened in Medellin again with all the scopeamine. Do you know how these guys met these girls? Yes, you got it right, on Tinder. Because if you met her at a coffee shop where she was working while you're speaking Spanish, right? It's less likely that's going to happen because you already see she has a job. You already scoped her out. You already spoke a little bit of Spanish to her, right? You already got a number right there. You already know where she works. So is she gonna rob you when you know where she works, right? Unless she's gonna rob you and quit her job, and that's really, really unlikely, right? That's really, really unlikely because these women think different, right? You would never have access to a real traditional woman of that country unless you actually go out and put in the work to approach. And I know a lot of guys have approach anxiety. Again, coming from the West, even in New York and California, it's illegal to approach women. But you have to understand that you have to switch that off once you get on that plane and know that things are different in other countries. So this is my thing for you guys, because I've been hearing this in consultations. I've been hearing this on videos. You guys saying, oh, well, Ghana is westernized. Nigeria, oh, they're westernized. Oh, Kenya, they're westernized. Because, simply because you chatted with a bunch of girls on Tinder, right? And they ask you for money, or they showed you their pros right away, right? You can't do that. And I would say, if you're going to the country, I would say yes, use dating apps. Again, I won't say Tinder. I don't like Tinder. Tinder, everybody knows everybody. Like there's no valuable, especially in these traditional countries. Women, it's not like the U.S. Everybody's not on dating apps. Everybody's not on dating apps. In the U.S., maybe because everything is all screwed up. Everything is upside down. That's why we call it the Matrix. But once you leave the US, for you to meet valuable women, you have to put in the work. If you're going to a country where you don't speak the language, you have to start learning in order to, that's how you're going to have access. If you don't learn, if you don't put in the work, as passport bros, we have to put in work. We can't just say, oh, I'm just leaving the US and I can't wait to meet traditional women, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but you have to put in the work unless you're going to a country where, generally people speak English. Even then, you still have to get off dating apps. Because I can walk down the street right now, leave this house, walk down the street, and talk to any girl. Or she would say yes, or she would say no. People are really polite and respectful in other countries. But I don't think you guys really understand that, because you used to the war, the gender wars, you used to the disrespect by women in the West, right? But you have to understand, and you have to think in your head, it's not the same in other countries. And for you to meet a valuable woman that you could take seriously, you have to go there with a different mindset. Get off dating apps. You're not gonna meet them there. And stop judging women of other countries by a bunch of women that you chatted with, and like 10 of them ask you for money, or 10 of them ask you what you do, and blah blah blah. That's what you have to expect, that, because if you go on Tinder, you already know you're looking to clap cheeks. That's it. You're looking to go on dating apps to clap cheeks, especially in these countries. In the US, everybody's on dating apps. Everybody. In these countries, there are women that you will never ever meet unless you approach them. And your wife, your potential wife, is in this country or in these countries waiting for you to approach them. They're not waiting for you on dating apps, waiting for you to approach them. A lot of them don't even have Instagram. A lot of them do have Instagram, but you won't really know who they are in Instagram, because you can meet, of course you can meet promiscuous women on Instagram as well. You're gonna know right away that that's who she is by the kind of pictures she posts. But there are a lot of women that just post flowers, or just use social media for religious stuff, or just a network, or the business and stuff like that. So, you can't rely on that either. You have to rely on your big reach is gonna be going to this country and just going to the streets and just being outside. And not being afraid to learn the language and approach women in a very respectful way, and know and understand that things are different in these countries. Know that women are not gonna respond to you like the women in the West will. So please, don't rely on dating apps to meet potential women that you take seriously. And in the beginning of the video, towards the beginning of the video, remember I said women that you can take seriously and marry. Now, if you're looking for something casual, come on, that's a different story. If you're going to these countries looking for something casual, it's a different story. But don't expect, because I know most of you, 90% of you watching these videos in the West, most of you are thinking, oh, all I'm gonna do is just get on social media and dating apps and just swipe, and my wife is waiting for me there. Most likely she's not, right? Most likely she's on the street, she's on the street walking to work, going to church, going to help her mother out or father out, catering to family members, right? They don't have time to be swiping left and right. They're not gonna do it. And I'm telling you right now, because I'm on ground, I'm in Nigeria, and I've talked to a lot of women A lot of beautiful women that said they would never go on dating apps. They will not. They will not go on dating apps. They will not. They will not. You're probably most likely gonna meet a valuable woman on Instagram than on dating apps. But how you gonna find them on Instagram? It's not like Instagram has an algorithm where you could just compile, all the women in a certain area, right? So I'm advising you guys to put in the work before you leave the West. If you're going to a country, I'm repeating this, and I'm sound like a broken record, but I'm repeating this so you can get it. If you're going to another country where you don't speak the language, put an effort in to learn the language. Start learning the language again. If you're going to Portugal, start learning Portuguese. If you're going to a country where English is generally spoken, you can go and you have an in, but know that you're gonna have to approach. You're gonna have to talk to women. You're gonna have to put in the work, build your confidence. Because a lot of you go in with the same mindset in the West, and you fail, and you go back to the West, and you say, "Oh well, women are the same. All those women are Westernized." No, they're not. There's a big tradition outside the U.S. There's a big, big, big tradition. It's like going to Thailand and going to Bangkok and walking up and down Soi 6 and think you're gonna meet your wife. You're not gonna meet your wife. You're not gonna meet your wife. You guys know this. It's like going to Medellin and walking up and down Paquilleras, and walking up and down the park and thinking you're gonna find your wife. No, they're hunting for you and you're hunting for them. They're hunting for your money and maybe, potentially, God forbid, scoping you. You know what time it is. But now if you venture outside of that area, now you have to really learn the language, because most of these women don't speak. The most traditional women in those countries don't speak English. You have to remember that. If you take anything from these videos, from this video I'm making right now, just know that the most valuable woman that you might want to make your wife does not speak English. And you have to make the effort to learn that language in order to communicate. Now, you don't have to be fluent, but at least speak it at some point. You teach her English, she teaches you her language, and you guys can build something together. It's part of building a relationship, learning languages, learning cultures. So you have to know that. You have to know that you're potentially not gonna meet your wife on Tinder and on Bumble. Now, use it as your way in, but don't use it as your primary way once you're in that country to meet women. Guys, like, subscribe. As always, I'm out. Another video is coming soon, right? Please book a consultation with the emails below. If you want to support the channel, thank you for those that have been supporting. My Cash App is below. My Venmo is below. You know what time it is. Peace.